Alright guys, reason why I kind of got the focus on her. Well, for one, remember before I wanted to show you basically what that spacer is. It's this black piece, so you basically put on top of the spring perch and then it lifts up the front. You can kind of see, there, rubbing a little there, kind of chopped it. I had to cut the fronts a little. But yeah, no. I got mixed feelings about this. I mean, I love, the look of the truck. People are like, oh man, crazy. But with this extra weight, it definitely messes with the shift points, mileage and shit. The mileage isn't too bad with it, but when I'm towing that whore, oh my gosh, man, the thing I was like chilling, doing like, 60 miles an hour, which they're off about 5 miles. So it's about, if I'm doing 60, 65, whatever, because it's a taller tire. But what ends up happening is I'll be like chilling, just cruising, and then like it slowly starts to die. Like I'll be, in fifth gear or whatever it may be. And then once it like kind of dies, it kicks, down a gear, or maybe even goes into overdrive and then shoots me back up to about 2100, 2200. And it just kept on doing that yesterday. So yesterday we took the boat out and I spent like, or not spent, but I used about fucking damn near half tank of gas just going, like 30 minutes out to the sea out that way. And I don't know. So I am looking at possibly doing HP tuners. I know flash packs or whatever super chips, they have a setup. Oh damn, Q came here. But anyways, they have a thing where you can probably do like a cold air intake, some exhaust, and a tune, and they say get 86, back horsepower or whatever the hell. There you can. They're like all scared. But anyways, I'm gonna pause that because these people are coming out. All right, so now back to our regularly scheduled program. What I'm, looking at, basically what I said, fast chips, they said that you can do, there's some ducks over there. But anyways, they say you can, make like 87, with your typical bolt-on type shits. And the only thing, those type of programmers are limited. You can't, do like, custom shit. So I'm looking at HP tuners, and then I can do that. But so I'm looking at doing HP tuners and then, possibly doing intake exhaust and see if I can get my power back up to where that shit doesn't kick down. Also, I can mess with the shift points or whatever. But that's a different story. If that don't work, she's getting fucking 5 pounds of boost. End of story. Done. But then you see what I'm saying? Like, what the hell are you talking about 86 horsepower? How do you make 86 horsepower? I mean, is this motor like really detuned for that? So that's another, question. But we'll go the cheapest route to just make more power and get better economy. So now back to this son of a whore. I need to pull out, this guy. So I ended up renting a pilot bearing puller, but my cheap little thing didn't have the right thread. So I ended up renting another one. So I'll pull that out. That should only take like 2 seconds. And then I got the pilot bushing for, because that's an automatic. There's an automatic motor. Got the manual one. Slide that in, push that in, and then I can mount my tranny, do all that. The other thing that I was looking at, which I may have to confirm, but basically you can see the teeth on the different, like this one is sort of like this, and then this one's like this. So I don't know if this is like a falling tooth and this is a raising tooth setup, but I'm not looking to go and spend another flywheel and do all that, because let's say if I do and then it doesn't work with the pattern because it's kind of different. So I said fuck it, I'll just use this. And also because I compared the two. Yeah, this just garage is always in a fucking array, but I can't find it anyway. Oh, there they go. So here goes one of the reasons why I'm trying to like do it this way. So the sensor, this is the crank sensor from the Q50, and then this is the one from my motor. The thing I need to double check is the ones on the front. If this diameter fits on the front, I'm good. If not, I'm kind of scarred. Well, not scarred. There's two ways I can go about it. One way is using the factory sensors. That these are all 5 volt, so it's a 5 volt lead to it. This is a 12 volt. This is much easier to work with. If not, I would need to do some type of things to the ECU to push out 5 volts and to, you know, energize these guys. The other thing that I was looking at originally too was if I go with my 12 volt, if I go with my 12 volt sensors, you know, it sticks out a little bit. So basically, I would be able to use this. So I guess if I were to use, you know, this guy with this flywheel, I keep pointing you to see it, that it probably wouldn't pick it up, and that's why that one's protruding more. But anyhow, I don't really necessarily like that. It's an ease, you know, it works fine and stuff. I just noticed I did get a lot of noise when I first had this set up, and that was because of the type of plugs I was using, some non-resistor plugs. So I went with the iridiums. But anyways, long story short, I have those, and I will put those in. If I can't get the car started with my factory sensors, or if this one in the front, the cam sensors don't fit in there, then I'm just gonna go to a crank trigger setup and say fuck it. You know what I mean? Just put a fucking tooth on the crank and done. But that's gonna be, you know, whatever. My main focus right now is to get this engine and transmission mated up, clean up this motor, get all the extra wires, all the extra, you know, things, you know, whatever. I still haven't figured. I'm gonna put the car on with this manifold, but depending on the manifold, if I can kind of do like a Y setup, which I'll show that later, what I'm thinking about, I will keep that. If not, I'll put on my pearly, you know, silver one that I had painted. So that's the steps. We're taking in baby steps, trying to make some progress. But like I said, my biggest thing is go, get her mated up, and then drop her back into the car, and then see what's changed, what's, you know, because one of my things here was, you know, like this spacing here, but when I had checked it, you know, compared to the other motor, because that intake manifold sticks out so far with the throttle body that it actually comes like a little further out, so I should have clearance with the firewall. But we'll see. This is, you know, all things. I mean, I just need to clean this up. So that's the next steps, but we'll see. All right, so I got that bad boy out. I was trying to work on with this guy, you know, and it's like the teeth were too big to kind of bite on the internal. So I sacrificed an adapter on my tool. You know, this is the Harbor Freight special, and since it's Harbor Freight, I was looking, okay, maybe I could weld like a nut or a washer to, oh shit, this guy's still hot, I don't want to touch him, but to there, so then I could slide that guy and bite it. Well, I didn't find anything that big or fat or whatever, so I said fuck it. I had this guy, it's nice, it threads in, oh, a little warm, so I went and I did some arc welds on it, because see, I even tried cutting it just to see if that would heat it up enough to kind of loosen it. It didn't do shit. So then I was, all right, well, let me, you know, do some welds. So I did some arc on it and got that to hold. At the same time, the heat from the weld, you know, helps loosen. So I went and pulled it, and bam, in like 3 slides with this little small guy, that bitch came out. Last time I had used a vice grips, and I locked it down, and then I welded it, and then I used that to hit it out. Well, this is my kit now, so I was like, fuck it. So now I could just cut that off and then clean it up, and then I got back my tools. So anyways, so yeah, you see, and this ain't even hot because, oops, sorry. Yeah, none of this is hot because obviously I was just welding, you know, that adapter. I got a little splatter there. Shit, that's gonna throw off my revolutions. But oh shit, and I got some splatter there. I'll clean it off with them thingy. But anyhow, that's what's up. So now I will do that, because what I want to do is get that in and then see what the relation is, you know, to the flywheel. So, but I mean, I'm already certain what I'm gonna do. But whatever. It's like for fun and games per se. So, all right. Now, for those of you that are unaware of why I'm doing that, basically, this was a automatic too. I pulled out that piece, and then you got to put in this pilot bushing, which this goes on the input of the shaft of the transmission. Oh man, that bitch is heavy. So anyways, like you go here, and then when this motor sticks in to the thing, it rests on that. So this will be into the crank, and that'll help keep the input shaft from wobblies. So I know Nismo makes one of these, but like a cage bearing, you know, a roller pins. But that's just too much. Fuck that shit. Yeah. So that's what's up. Yeah, I think when you have this piece, when you have one of these, what I just realized, which I'm kind of like, maybe I might do it. I noticed when I had that in the car that it kind of had like a rounded noise. But let's check something. Let's see if it was from here, if it was from when the transmission kind of ran low. Actually, I don't see no wear in there. You know, I don't really see no wear to say that it was grinding on the input shaft. On the end, I see a little bit. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Oh shit, I almost fell. Get this bitch in zoom. So anyways, so I'll go ahead, clean out this hole a little, just to, you know, it's got rust build up, so at least this slides in a little good. Just take a little socket that's there and make sure it goes in straight. That's what's up. So alright, so there goes the 12-volt sensor. It's actually like the same, but what I also remember, I forgot, this was like a cam sensor, and I had put it, you know, I did a rookie mistake, but it still works because it's the same thing, just the pinout was different. But there goes the 5-volt sensor. It's, you see, like that, it won't touch. So basically, you know, Nissan, they like to keep everything the same, although it's a different block, different year motor. You know, well, it's based off the same block, but same, you know, kind of thing. So that's where that one will sit, and it will, you know, read those teeth just fine. I don't know, it's probably got like a 1 mil thing. Probably looks like a 44th. Well, actually 1.1 is 44th thou. But anyways, it's got something like that. So at least there goes my crank, which I like that too, because the crank trigger on the DE was on the bottom over here, and I was kind of scared that it would hit, but you know, it didn't. So actually I could do this, and you know, this will bolt down per se. Yeah, I like this location. So it's there. Let's look at this top angle if we can see. Yeah, it's kind of hard with all this damn brackets, but basically it's not touching. It'll read these just fine. So I'm thinking the difference between this crank setup, these teeth, and these teeth is one's a falling edge and one's a rising edge. Maybe, I don't know. I just know that's some options, but it works. So I know my crank trigger's set up just fine. That's good. I need to cut out my bell housing, round that out on that guy to fit that, and then once I do that, I'm good. So as you can see, I got my pilot bushing in, you know, flush with that. Oops, sorry, flush with that, so that's good. Yeah, my ARP studs. Yeah, so we're making some headway. Hopefully I can, like I said, grind out what I need. Maybe I can use a little hole saw to get half a circle. I don't know. Just so this piece will be able to, you know, just drop in. So I'm gonna start working on that now. Yeah, so basically about 30 minutes ago, this was a automatic motor. Now it's the manual motor. All right, guys, I'm only talking shit. All right. Well, I just took out my cam sensor from here. Went to go and try to plug it right there, but it's the same type of setup. Like, shit, where'd I put the other one? I'll put it up here. Like this, where this big square head is, and basically that big square head doesn't fit. So it's either I switch to these bad boys since they're undercut, but then I have to figure out to get a good 5-volt signal out of the ECU, or something. Shit, I even thought about going sloppy and doing like a USB, you know, like cell phone charger, since that's 5 volts, and then push it to these sensors. But I'm gonna look online, see what it is. If it's like I gotta do some crazy modding or, you know, some other shit, bro, I'm going crank trigger, especially since I got it out of the car. But you know what, at the same time, since I have so much room in the front, I could put the motor in with the transmission and then still be able to do my crank setup, my crank trigger. But that's my local debate right now. So we'll see. I'll keep you informed. That's my brother's car there. Clean G. Looking nice, looking pretty. Better than me and my whips. Anyhow, I was messing around with the motor again. Regarding, I guess the video before, whatever, I was talking about the cam sensors and all that. They didn't fit. So I'm gonna just call this the Q50 motor. Fuck it. You know, although I can say, oh, whatever. But anyways, damn, nigga needs some sleep. Anyways, the Q50 motor, those camshafts, they use what's that thing called? Camshafts. The sensors are smaller. They're 5 volt. So what do you call it? With the Mega Squirt, I could jump off of the TPS voltage, because that's a 5 volt output to turn on the sensor. I can put 2 sensors on there with no problem. So now, with that being said, I am gonna run the Q50, the stock thingies, but now I have to check something in terms of relation with the crank, not the crank, but the flywheel and the flex plate, because the one that I had was the DE. The crank sensor was on the bottom. On the VHR, it's on the top right, let's say like 2 o'clock. And so that may change, how the tooth is set up on the clutch. So I may need to buy a clutch. And then, I should be good. So I'm gonna probably hit up the junkyard. I'll probably hit up the junkyard tomorrow. There's a G37 in the yard. I just need someone on this motor. They took the 2 camshaft position sensors. I don't really care about getting those. If I can get them, that's good, but I really need the pigtail. They cut them out on this one. So basically I'm gonna go that route. If the car gets started, woohoo, yay yay. If it doesn't, crank trigger. I'm not too worried, but I do want to kind of get this this setup, but like wiring done, because that's gonna be another thing. So I might actually, in the 240, clean up the wiring a bit, because I didn't like how it turned out at the end. But besides that, that's what's up. So, alrighty. So, make sure I'm not crazy, but I know I'm not. Basically, this is the pin for the what's that thing called? Crank. In relation down, you see how it's got basically a missing tooth here. It's got a big wide space. When you come here, come down, that space shifted over this way. And the same thing happened with the other ones. Like there's this one on this side. This one is actually more higher, so it's like the whole thing kind of shifted. So I need to get a 370Z flywheel. Oh well, you want to pay, you got to play. So at least, you know, that gives me some time to get the sensors and all that. But never ends. All right. So I was doing some what's it called? Information yesterday, research, and yeah, look at that diagram. It has, in order to control the VVL, it uses the crank and camshaft position sensor, and then it looks at the throttle, and then as well as the VVL has its own cam position sensor. But then that actually is an external control module. So it's like an actual, like a piggyback system. So when all that comes in, that goes to the ECU. And then I don't know if these two are the same, like it goes back, but when it gets all that information in the ECU, it sends it out, and it goes out to the motors, the servo motors. So I don't know if that's like a 5-volt setup or a 12-volt. I need to look at the wiring, but for right now, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm just gonna, get the car running. I was gonna go to the junkyard. It's fucking like pouring, so I can't do that. But anyways, long story short, the VVL is kind of out of the thing right now. But I will, let's say hopefully play with it later down the road. I mean, what I plan on doing is, because I'm not messing with the timing, that if I can get it to get its max lift, I will then hold it there, which however, and then just rotate the motor by hand with like no, thingy, and then see if I touch. If I don't touch, I'm good to go. I can put that bitch on full tilt. If it does touch, then I will never fuck with it and whatever. But I don't know. I want to definitely get this rocker setups, taken care of. So that's just where it's at. I don't know if there's any more information. It's just fuel pump. Yeah. So it's just kind of crazy how it does all that. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just another day in the neighborhood. All right, guys. Late.